Is there a call that stands out to you?
There's the call that ultimately ended my career with 911 dispatch.
Okay.
I'll kind of I'll back up a little bit. I had gotten to a point where I was a trainer in the dispatch center, and I was training a new person who I didn't think he was cut to be a dispatcher. He wasn't ready yet.
Okay.
He had the heart. He needed more training before I felt he could be cut loose. And I ended up getting strong-armed to releasing him. There were so basically with the training program, you've got 3 different trainers. All 3 trainers have to sign off. The other 2 trainers had signed off. And I said, he's not ready. This is going to hurt him. This is going to hurt us. He's not ready. And the supervisor said, you're the only person holding us back. I need him because we're short-staffed. Release him. And we went back and forth for a very long time. Finally, I gave up. I said, fine. And I ended up releasing him. His first shift was with me, which I was like, well, okay, I guess we've got that, because I was a very strong dispatcher. I was like, at least I can handle it if, something happens. And it happened. All hell broke loose. Every 911 line started ringing. When the 911 lines get maxed out, the phones roll over to our admin line. And there's an unlimited amount of admin lines that can ring.
So second you're hanging up,
phone system is just stacked, call after call after call after call after call. And he's not giving me any information. In the dispatch center, the roles were split up. You'd have somebody on phones, somebody on radios, typically. That was your priority. He was on phones that night. I was on radios. And he wasn't giving me any information. I knew it was big, because everything was lit up.
Was this all one incident? Everyone's just calling in for it? Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I pick up a line, and I'm told somebody just ran over a guy. I'm like, okay, where are you at? So I get the location, and I end up dispatching an ambulance. I ended up sending a second ambulance. The way that I put it out over, we needed fire response. We needed cops to go. So we had sheriff's department en route. We had police department en route. We had an engine as well as a rescue truck. The rescue truck carried all the extrication equipment.
And he has not called any of this out?
He wasn't giving me any of this information.
How much time had elapsed before you figured this out?
Oh, I was on it in about 30 seconds.
Okay.
Because I was seeing he's not giving me anything.
So he just froze?
So he just froze. So I got all the information. I dispatched it out. Ultimately what had happened was a man was walking the street on a very busy 5-lane highway and ended up getting hit by a car. He went over the top of that vehicle. He got ran over by a second vehicle and then ran over by a third vehicle. The vehicle that initially hit him, he hit the windshield, and they had like a 6-year-old in that car that saw his face hit the windshield. That mom was the 911 call I picked up. She was hysterical. I couldn't let go of the phone call because she was hysterical. So I had to keep her on the line. I had to dispatch medics. I had to dispatch fire. I dispatched officers, all while keeping her on the line, switching back and forth, picking up other 911 calls, because you can't assume it's all the same call. So we had to get through every single incoming phone call, just to make sure everybody was calling about the same incident.
So what's he doing?
He was frozen. He didn't do anything.
So now you're running radios and phones.
Correct. So everything kind of calms down, and law enforcement gives us the ID. They were able to find ID on him. He was dead, and it ended up being somebody I knew.
Damn. I'm
So
sorry to hear that.
I ended up leaving that shift, and I was like, I knew it. And I got home and I stared at the wall. I got done at 9 p.m. that night, stared at the wall. The next time I looked at the clock, it was 4 a.m. I hadn't blinked. I hadn't moved. I didn't eat. I sat on the couch and I stared at the wall. And that morning I was like, this one did me in. I was like, I'm not okay. I am not okay. So I tried kind of working through it. I had a couple days off. So I was like, I'm going to go for a hike. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to try to clear my mind. But I hadn't felt that darkness before.
Okay.
So I ended up, the next shift that I went on, we got a call for a fire alarm, and we had protocols for a fire alarm that you sent, If it was like a commercial fire alarm, you sent a fire engine and a battalion chief, I think was what the protocol was. And I go to dispatch it out, and I didn't drop the correct tones. So I had only sent the fire truck. And I was like, man, I don't make those mistakes. I was like, I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I recognized it right then and there. It ended up not being a big deal in the call. And I was the one who caught my mistake. Nobody came to me and said, dude, you fucked up. Like, I caught my mistake.
Yep.
I went to my supervisor and I said, I'm not okay. I need help. And she was like, okay, we'll get you help. We'll get this figured out. And I was like, okay. So I'm starting to feel good about it. I'm like, I have a support system. We're okay. I did the right thing. I went to my supervisor. About a week later, she calls me in the office and she goes, okay, so we have a plan for you. We're going to put you on probation.
For coming forward?
And I said, for what? And she goes, well, you said you can't do the job. And I got so mad that I walked out. I slammed the door behind me and I called my mom and I said, I just quit my job. And she was like, why? And I was like, and I told her and she goes, you can't do that. She goes, it's a good job. You love that job. Like, don't let your emotions get the best of you. And I was like, fuck this. I was like, I asked for help and she wants to, the terms were she wanted to segregate me. I was not allowed to have my cell phone while I was on shift. I was not allowed to have a book to read while I was on shift. I was not allowed to search the internet for anything that was not work related.
So you're being punished.
Mm-hmm. I was not allowed to speak with any of the jailers. We worked in the building with like as the jail. So jailers would stop in, say hi. I wasn't allowed to talk to jailers. I wasn't allowed to talk to the deputies when they stopped by. Wasn't allowed to talk to cops if they stopped by.
Why? What was the justification for
I
that?
never asked. I was so mad. I just left.